Welcome, dear Thriver, to Thriver TV, where not only do you learn about narcissistic abuse, but how to heal for real. And I just want to start off by saying I am so excited to announce that our second ever 10-week Thrive membership is coming up. This is my signature healing boot camp, which is going to help you get out of the pain of narcissistic abuse, heal your trauma symptoms, and get on the path to true thriving. So check it out, and you can register by going to melanietoniaevans.com/thrive. And please know we're just opening it up, but spaces are limited and they do go quite quickly. So check it out. All right, so today I want to talk to you about love bombing and what can make you a target for a narcissist love bombing you. And it's really quite scary after you've been love bombed and you've fallen in with a narcissist and then you get sucked in and you get decimated and destroyed. You know how traumatizing and devastating that is, and also how hard it is to recover. And for all of you who have gone through that, my heart goes out to you, because that's exactly what happened to me as well. And of course, moving forward, it can be really scary because you think, well, okay, it happened to me last time. What if it happens to me again? How could it happen to me again? And, maybe I'm not going to be able to choose safely or wisely. I'm going to get hoodwinked again. How can I get out into life and not fall for this again? And it's a really important discussion, because this is something that I had to learn. It was something I had to really confront within myself, and it was something I had to deeply heal. And when I did, and I really got this part of that right, I was able to move into life in a way that it was safe, and I did trust myself, and I wasn't scared of narcissists or falling for one again. So let me explain to you what all of that is about. And I'm going to start off by explaining to you the ways that I used to get hoodwinked and fall for a narcissist's love bombing. So one of the biggest things for me used to be that I didn't feel seen, and I didn't feel understood, and I didn't feel loved for myself. I really honestly thought that I was only accepted and loved for my accomplishments and what I could achieve or what I could do, or what things that I had to show for myself. Because that was kind of my experience growing up with two parents that certainly weren't narcissists, but they were busy and they were very accomplishment focused and very security focused. And it was never kind of about, well, how are you? It was like, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done the other? And I grew up really feeling accepted, heard, and loved if I'd got an A on my test, or if I had done this, or if I'd done that, or if I'd done the other, rather than just loved and accepted for me. And what happened to me in the narcissistic experience was when I met the narcissist, kind of at first I had this creepy feeling of, oh, there's something a bit off with him and his energy's really dark. And I actually felt a repulsion. And this crazy thing happened where the room got cleared because of an event, and it was kind of just him and I. And then he zoomed in on me. And then he was kind of asking me things about myself, and what he was doing, I didn't know it at the time. He was identifying and working me out, because this is what narcissists do very, very quickly. And then they test the waters and they see if they've got it right, and they see if they've decided that you could be a target for narcissistic supply. What they will actually do is start trying to find out where your on button is. And what your on button is what you want to hear. It is that satiation, that appreciation, that love, that approval, that thing that feels missing to you, that thing that you feel that you haven't been receiving from people, that you crave. And it was really quite interesting because he found that, and I felt all of a sudden seen and met and heard on such a deep level that I felt like a woman who was in a desert dying of thirst, who just found her oasis. And that creates a very, very, very powerful bonding. And then when he asked me about things about my life, I felt like he's somebody who's not just interested in what I've done, he's interested in me. So I shared about my life, and he asked, what are the things that have disappointed you and hurt you? And I shared those. And then he would look me straight in the eyes and he'd say to me, I would never do that to you. I don't ever, I'm not like that. And I thought, oh my gosh, pay dirt. I've hit the jackpot. This is what I've been waiting for my whole life. Here's the other half of myself that's going to give me the love and approval and the feelings of peace and safety and wholeness that I want. So I was love bombed. I was absolutely love bombed. And then what happens is from the love bomb, and then we fell into a relationship very, very quickly. And I let him into my heart, my hearth, my body, my home, my finances, my life, my soul, very, very, very quickly. And then, of course, with narcissists, as the mask dropped and things started getting awful, I always wanted to return back to that man, back to that connection, back to, this is my soulmate, this is my twin flame, this is my life. And I made excuses and I kept trying, and then I tried to fix him and lecture and prescribe, and I made excuses and I stayed attached, and the rest is history. We know how it goes. So I was love bombed. And this is just like one of my clients, Janie. She met a narcissist while she was dating, and he was very interested in her, and he asked her about her life and her past, and she shared how her husband had had affairs on her and even run off with one of her best friends ultimately. And he looked her straight in the eyes and he said to her, I can't even imagine how any man could do that to you. And I completely believe in monogamy. I don't get how anybody could ever play up on anybody and lie about it and hide it. Surely, if you felt the relationship wasn't working, you'd work on it. And then if it wasn't working, you would leave before you even started seeing other people, and you'd be honest. I don't get it. And she was like, oh my gosh. Oh my God, a man who has those values. And of course, he was attractive and he was charming and he was, everything on paper she wanted. So, of course, they started a relationship, and she trusted him very quickly and introduced him to her kids, and he ended up moving in. And, a year down the track, here she was with a man who again betrayed her with affairs, who did the most horrible things, who abused her shockingly. Her kids had left and run for the hills because they abandoned their mother because they couldn't stand what she was going through. And she nearly lost everything. And of course, she lost her health. And then she had to rebuild and she had to heal all over again. This time, the right time. And then, and this was the thing. And that's when she found my work, and then she started to heal. She thought she'd healed from her ex-husband. Like, she got away, she'd let go of the grief, she'd gone through the natural processes, and then she got the confidence to date again, and bang, it happened again. No, she got, and as she said, this man was even more charming. He was a much worse narcissist than what her husband had been. And he was more charming and more beautiful and more believable. And, he used to cook for her and do the groceries, and he was just so beautiful. And she got even into a more abusive infidelity relationship than she'd even had with her husband. So I know a lot of you, whether it was your first time round and you were love bombed, or you've come out of painful relationships and you've got into other relationships with a narcissist who seems so wonderful and had so much integrity and so much love and care and honesty and commitment to you. And then, you found out they were the devil in disguise. And it's shocking. It's really shocking. But how do we take our power back? How do we heal from this? How do we work out what on earth's been going on here? And was it just that I was unlucky? Was it just that other people are awful? Or do I actually have some power and choice in this moving forward so it never happens to me again? I really want you to know, when you understand the thriver deeper concepts and you heal the thriver way, absolutely, I promise you that there is an unconscious reason inside of us that's made us susceptible to this. And let's just go back through it. So for myself, when I hadn't yet released my traumas of not feeling enough and not lovable for myself, and those parts of myself that I was overcompensating with through being very capable and very hardworking and very, and even though I achieved so many things in my life, I had this gnawing emptiness, and I knew that relationships, were such a painful experience for me in my life. And I hadn't healed that between me and Source. So there was still that little girl inside of me who really believed that I'm only loved for my accomplishments and I'm not lovable for myself. So as soon as I got with somebody who found that out, because this is what narcissists do, he found that out, and then he was able to show up to be the savior of that in spades. That's the love bombing. And I fell for it. Why did I fall for it? Because I hadn't yet healed between myself and Source to be whole in that way. That's why I was susceptible. And then we go to, the thriver, Janie, who's a thriver now, and she's got an amazing man in her life, and, no infidelity in any of those things. But she had that little girl inside of her that was still broken and unhealed, with the belief that, the people I love leave me for somebody else, or, betray me with other people. And that was the pattern that her dad had done to her mum. And this was very wedged in her inner being, and it was unhealed. So what happened was she ended up with exactly the match of her inner love code. The people I love leave me and betray me with other people. And what happens was the narcissist in her life decided, oh, you look like a good juicy target, somebody that I can get narcissistic supply and a feed from, because she was beautiful and intelligent and capable, and she had resources, which is all the goodies that narcissists want. So she was a target, and all he had to do was pretend that he was the savior of the stuff that was her gap. I would never do that to you. I'm going to mimic your body language. I'm going to look you straight in the eyes, and I'm going to tell you with full dripping sincerity that is completely good enough to be an Academy Award performance, and you're going to fall for it. And she did. Now, we could say, of course, good people believe other people. But I want you to understand this. There's two pieces to this that do not allow you anymore to be susceptible to a narcissist love bombing. First of all, we've got to clean up our unfinished business. Do the inner work as a single person to be able to heal up our trauma so that we're a whole solid adult in our body. And this is why we don't leave them when things get bad as well, and a host of other reasons. But this one is a very powerful reason. So we have to heal up those parts within us that are our broken inner child that is attaching onto the same people, hoping that mum or dad will do it differently this time. And most of this is very, very unconscious. This is not a logical thing that you can just decide to get over. You have to do the inner work. And when you do the inner work the right way, you grow up to a wholeness. And then when a narcissist is coming, when you're dating a narcissist and they're trying the love bombing, rather than feeling empty and hungry or thirsty, it actually feels off. And it's so interesting because, you know, in the relationship I have now, which is really whole and healthy and so beautiful and so not narcissistic, you know, I knew that I wanted romance and care in my life because they're beautiful things. And he was beautiful with the poetry and the romance and the way he treated me. And I had a girlfriend say to me, you know, I'd read her some of the poetry and she'd go, how do you know this is not love bombing? And I said to her, I'll tell you how I know. Because if I'm busy, let's say I'm doing a seminar, I'm traveling overseas, or I have some kind of commitment, whether it be personal or work or whatever, if he was to message me and I don't message him for hours, I don't get 8 text messages. I won't even get another one. He'll leave me and be respectful. I can spend time away from him. I have my life. If I can't catch up with him and I say, look, you know, Thursday night I can't, but how about next Monday night in the dating process? And he's fine with that. He's respectful, he's mature, he's solid in his body, he's not needy. He's not telling me within 5 minutes that I'm the love of his life and that he saw me in a dream, or a psychic told him that a woman with long dark brown hair and green eyes was going to walk into his life and it was his missing soulmate. That's how I know. And I don't get guilted and shamed into not giving him enough attention. So this is the thing. Because I'd healed myself up enough and I'd really worked on the mission of creating a life of feeling safe and whole in my body and loving my life and having a life, I was able to share a life and not be needy for a life, to let a love bomber come in, take me over, get me to connect immediately, give up everything. And if we have a scanty anything where it's really, we don't have a life, we're just empty and needy and looking for a life with somebody, you know, maybe we're a workaholic and we're really busy, but we're kind of just, this was me. That was my old life. I was always busy and I was very capable and I was doing things, but I always felt an emptiness because I really didn't love being in my body and being in life and feeling connected to life. I was overcompensating because I didn't have that. And I used to think that a partner gives me that. So somebody could just come into my life and find out what was missing, present it in spades. I would just suck onto it because it was like my everything, give up whatever I did have, and just fall in with them. And then that's exactly how a narcissist enmeshes you and takes you down for narcissistic supply, which means that you are now trauma bonded, you're hooked. And if you don't have a connection with source and self and a healed up solid self, and you don't have a life, well, then you're really not in a solid position to say, excuse me, these are my boundaries, these are my truths, these are my values, either step up to meet me there or we need to part, because this is not good enough for me. This is not a level of love where I'm loving myself. And we don't have boundaries. So that was absolutely my life. I hope I am really speaking to you today to deeply help you understand what's going on in love bombing. I know it's terrifying without the inner work and the wisdom and your evolution to understand how you can be a force to completely change your experience. But I promise you that is the case. And this is the work I live every day for myself personally. This is the work that I've helped thousands of people from all over the world be able to get out of their old patterns, especially really, really painful relationship and interpersonal programs, so that you can have the relationships that are your true self and your true life, that are your soul and birthright to have, which is healthy, safe, and fulfilling, and able to grow into something really, really beautiful with somebody. So I want to talk to you about Thrive, because what we go through in Thrive in the 10-week process is all about this getting your relationship right with yourself and source, healing and cleaning up your unfinished business so that you can confidently start walking into life with boundaries and the capacity to not just up-level existing relationships into something much healthier, but be able to choose new relationships with due diligence, with consciousness, and with emotional intelligence so that you can be safe and healthy moving forward and get the relationships of your dreams, okay? By mating your own soul in a powerful way, in a quantum way, then you will get your soulmate. Absolutely, 100%. So, and not only this, it's also Thrive is very much about you letting go of the hurt and getting free of the hurt and the symptoms, all the things like PTSD, agoraphobia, anxiety, depression, obsessional thinking, you know, that roller coaster that can be such a thing with narcissistic abuse recovery. And some of you may be, you know, years down the track and you are still feeling it. I promise you, when you know how to clean it up really quickly, it's so possible to get free even in weeks. It's that fast. And in Thrive, we do 10 incredibly powerful quantum freedom healings as a group that catapult your healing, your development, and your personal power. Okay, so again, I want you to go to melanietonyevans.com/thrive to check out what that could do for you. The last group that we just got through a few weeks ago, the results have been humbly phenomenal. Better than we ever expected. So I hope that today really spoke to you. Thank you for joining me in this video. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. And I'll talk to you again soon. Lots of love. Bye-bye.